What's up? We got Gossip Girl, Season 5, Episode 13, Gigi. This episode starts off with, and also the 100th episode of Gossip Girl, which means it's the 100th episode of the reviews I've done since a month, months ago? Since 1 month or 2 months ago. Yeah, this is amazing. This episode starts off with Serena dreaming that she's Marilyn Monroe, singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, dancing with Dan, Chuck, Nate, Chuck, Louie around her in the Waldorf penthouse. Shortly after, Blair, dressed as Audrey Hepburn, appears, because of course Blair will be dressed as Audrey Hepburn, appears at the front of the steps. The two briefly talk at Dan, who profusely lets go of Serena to go with Blair. Afterwards, Serena wakes up and is briefly excited by my icon, Dorota. Yeah, Dorota was in the last episode. Who reminds her that it's finally wedding day. Serena asks where Blair is, and icon, Dorota, tells her that she went to Vera Wang's for her final dress fitting. She also tells Serena that everyone, including Dan, is coming over for breakfast buffet before the wedding. Blair is headed to Vera Wang and is greeted by adoring girls outside. One of them takes a picture of her and sends it to Gossip Girl. At the Empire, Nate finds his wedding invitation and glances at it, plus one invite before throwing it away. At the same time, the two hands are shown writing the latest Gossip Girl post. Wonder who those belong to. At the Vanderwoods in penthouse, Rufus is telling Dan that he needs to go hang music flyers, and he gives him his good luck shirt cup. He asks Dan again why he's in the wedding, and Dan explains that he did a favor for Louis, and this is repayment. And it's better than staying alone without a date. He didn't ask once the wedding happens, him and Serena can end their fake relationship for good. Rufus mentions that Dan by now probably isn't having any more fantasies about Blair running off with him, and Dan replies that the only one that might ruin the wedding is Chuck. At the Empire, Father Cavalier goes to see Chuck, brings him a priest's robe, explaining that he needs to go get past church security, and goes over to their plan again. Father survives T will be drugged and sleep, so Father Cavalier will be asked to step in. After that, Chuck will announce to everyone that last week Blair admitted she loved him, and both men argue to the plan, and Chuck offers Father Cavalier water, which he gratefully accepts. At the Waldorf, the brunch is underway. Louis is happy, telling Serena how he feels like the luckiest man in the world to be marrying Blair. Drew notices Serena's sadness and promises her that one day she will find the man who loves her like that too. At that moment, Serena spots Dan arrive and smile. So we then goes get his final dance to Sophie to make sure he knows the step. Sophie admits that she's surprised they made it to their wedding day, but she's happy Blair is so advantageous to Louis. Louis, offended, tells her their relationship is not business. Sophie reminds him that all relationships are business first. In another room, Eleanor keeps mentioning how she feels like she's forgotten something, but Sarah says she hasn't. An assistant tells Eleanor that dance between mother and father is standard. Eleanor tells her that Harold is there, but the arrangements were made for two to dance. The same assistant tells Serena that Louis' best man flight was delayed in Rome, and she needs to pick another dance partner. Dan volunteers, in which Serena is delighted. At the same time, Blair arrives home after being overwhelmed with things to do, and asks Serena to come upstairs for a moment. Upstairs, Blair realizes that she's about to get married. Serena tells her that it's going to be the best day of her life. Blair asks if anything will ruin it, and Serena promises it won't. Outside, Georgina, I don't know the last time we saw her, reads an article about Blair's wedding day to invents to Philip how much she hates Blair after what Blair did to her. She knows that her plans are to ruin Blair's wedding, no matter what it takes. So we got Georgina trying to ruin Blair's wedding, and we got Chuck and Father Cavalier trying to ruin Blair's wedding. But at least, I guess Georgina wants revenge on Blair. What is it? For Blair sending her to camp? or for Blair turning her back, or for what? It has to be for the camp thing, because I don't remember. Or for Blair sending those god lovers that she was once a part of to interrupt her party. Yeah, I don't know what is. Back at the Empire, Father Cavalia comes down with food poisoning, courtesy of Chuck, who gave him water from Mexico, and he explains that he can't let anything happen ruin Blair's wedding because of all he wants is her happiness. On his way out, Father Cavalia runs into Georgina, and Georgina decides to recruit him in her cause to stop Blair's wedding. Yeah, because outside, Georgina tells Father Cavalia, gives Father Cavalia the pills to help him with the food poisoning symptoms. She also advises him that he's about to ruin the wedding for the wrong way. Trying to go after Blair would never work, and that Louis is the weak link. Outside, the Waldorf, Nate meets a girl named Lola. Yeah, now we're back to that storyline. Yep, Nate meets Serena's real cousin, Charlie Rhodes, or Lola, but he doesn't know that's Serena's real cousin. Yeah, we're back to the storyline. He meets Nate. Yeah, he meets Lola, as we know, is the real daughter, is Serena's actual cousin. But Nate doesn't know this, so he just thinks this is the random girl that's working a catering job. She worked the breakfast. She introduces herself, and she explains that they met when she worked at several spectator events and leaves. He meets up with Dan and confesses that he's spending all the time focusing on the wrong girl and not enough on the right ones, and he's ready to stop looking for an honest relationship. Yeah, bro. Yeah, literally. Serena's cousin? That's who you want? You want Serena's actual cousin, bro. Yeah, bro, you want to date the Lola, who is the real Charlie, but Ivy hasn't been in an episode yet since episode 10, where she left, but now we have the real Charlie, aka Lola, added into the mix, who is the real daughter of Carol, but none of the main characters know this yet. So, Nate wants to date her. This is very weird. Yeah, they both agree to make sure Chuck isn't planning on honesty that day. At the church, Blair and Serena are getting ready for the wedding. Serena asks Blair what it feels like to be getting ready. She ever getting everything she ever wanted. Blair turns the question back to Serena, knowing how she feels about Dan. Serena admits that she told Dan they needed to fake their relationship, and Blair encourages her to tell him that how she feels because she's falling further while he has no idea. Eleanor and the icon Dorota arrive. Eleanor tells Blair how beautiful she looks. After looking at her in the mirror, she begins to have a panic attack. She begs someone to help her take her dress off as she begins cutting. She thinks it's cutting off her circulation. Serena offers to help open a window, and Dora gets her some water. Eleanor tries to calm her down. After Blair calms down a little, Eleanor goes out to the main chapel and meet up with Cyrus and Harold. She mentions that Blair's a nervous wreck, and Harold asks what bride isn't on her wedding day. After Harold tells an antidote how Eleanor had to take an anti-anxiety pill before the wedding. Eleanor realized she forgot and leaves. After she goes, Georgina sneaks into the side entrance and lets Philip in, who notices that he left Milo with the nanny. Chuck receives a call from Nate, wondering what his plans are for the day. He informs Nate about that person who should be worried about ruining the wedding is Dan. Chuck assures him that if he was meant to stop the wedding, there would be some sort of sign. At that moment, Eleanor walks in and she explains to Chuck that despite everything being perfect, it doesn't mean it's right. She continues to say that when she married Harold, she knew something was wrong, but not what. But when she married Cyrus, she was very calm and happy, but it seems like everything falling into place. She says that about Blair should be happy for the first time she marries, and asks Chuck to come with her to stop the wedding. So, yeah, So we got Father Cavalia and Georgina trying to stop the wedding, but now we got Eleanor recruiting Chuck to stop this wedding. Eleanor. Wow, who knew Eleanor was a villain? Like, she's trying to stop her own daughter's wedding. We know why Georgina's doing it. We know Georgina wants revenge on Blair. Cavalia wants Blair to not lose his job. But Eleanor wants to stop the wedding because what, Chuck? Because she wants Blair's first marriage to be a happy one. She doesn't think Louis will make her happy. This is a weird thing of people who want to stop this wedding. After church, the guests are beginning to arrive. Louis and Rufus arrive and marvel at the grandness of the event. All find their seats. Rufus spots Georgina, and Lily's not even paying attention when he says Georgina, and she says, "Oh, yeah," and she starts talking about how Georgina and stuff, but not realizing that he actually saw Georgina there. That's kind of funny. Yeah. So Georgina explains that. So in Louis' chamber, Georgina sets up a camera and explains that her plan is to record herself seducing Louis and having Blair catch them. Then post the scandal on Gossip Girl. Blair will be forced to postpone the wedding. A man comes into the room, and Georgina instructs him to tell Louis that Beatrice is waiting for him in the chamber, and to tell Blair the same thing. 10 minutes after. Meanwhile, Louis tells Dan that he had the line changed up so he could walk with Serena down the aisle. He congratulates Dan since Blair told her that his relationship with Serena is real now, and thanks him for helping her cover up the conversion lessons. Cover Blair's conversion lessons. He finishes by saying that he really must be one of Blair's best friends, and that makes him one of Louis' closest friends too. The same man Georgina talked to comes in to tell Louis to give him the message, but before Louis can really get to the room, Rufus and Lily have already done it, and they tell Georgina that they are told security she was there, and they are coming to escort her out, and will be waiting outside. Philip emerges and apologizes to Georgina about her plan. However, she spots another door and comes up with a new plan to stop the wedding. She's like, yeah, Lily and Rufus aren't going to stop her. Like, bro, what's good they do? Like, clearly. Elsewhere, Blair is waiting for the moment with her bridesmaids when Eleanor comes in and kicks everyone out. Blair demands to know where she's been. She tells everyone that she's been looking for her. Eleanor asks Blair not to be angry with her and beckons Chuck into the room. She leaves. Chuck begs Blair not to marry Louis, but Blair doesn't give in. She admits she loves Chuck, but they can't be together, and she's really doing it for him. Serena comes in and tells Blair the photographers are already confused. Confused on why Chuck is there, Blair assures her it's okay and leaves with her. When they're gone, Georgina emerges and announces to Chuck that she caught the whole conversation on tape, and she shows the tape at Chuck and honestly asks what would happen if Louis were to see the tape. Then Louis and Rufus arrive, security escort Georgina out, and she leaves Chuck with the tape. Outside, Serena asks Blair if she really wants to do this, and Blair says that she's made peace with her decision, and she'll grow into loving Louis. He says he will never hurt her. Serena tells her deep down she's deeply connected with Chuck, since everything to do leads them back to each other. She encourages her not to make the wrong choice, but is just afraid of her potential future with Chuck. When Eleanor comes in and apologizes for bringing Chuck, Blair assures her it's fine and she was planning on going through the wedding. She checks Serena to tell everyone she's ready, and on her way out, she catches Chuck, who informs Serena he's leaving. Serena, thinking on her feet, decides to reveal a secret to Chuck about Blair. Elsewhere, Harold tells Cyrus that he needs him and that's an emergency. Cyrus runs to her and asks what's wrong. Blair tells him that one escort isn't enough, and she needs both her dads to walk her down the aisle. Such a nice moment. The wedding begins, and all the bridesmaids and escorts walk down the aisle. Dan and Serena go. On their way down, Dan asks Serena to explain why everyone who knows they are faking their relationship. Who they are faking they're in a real relationship. Story replies that she did something really bad. Finally, Blair walks on the island and scored by Eleanor and Cyrus. A proud Nate and Dorota, along with the tearful Eleanor, are shown as Blair reaches the altar. She's greeted by Louis, and the two make their way to the priest. He begins signing his wedding vow and comes to the line. He's about to ask everyone to speak out. Everyone catches a glimpse of Chuck in back of the wedding, although he stays silent before moving on. Everyone sees a gospel girl blast with the video of Blair and Chuck attached, and it begins to echo throughout the church. Embarrassed and angry, Blair quickly runs back up the aisle and confronts Chuck after an angry Louis glares at her. Georgina happily smirks at the back of the church. Glad her plan worked out. Privately, Blair yells at Chuck, angry at what just happened. Chuck denies doing it and says that now everyone knows the truth. He also reveals Serena told him about Blair's pact with God. Serena explains that she had to find a way to save Chuck's life, and that the only way she could do that was because he was really dead. The only thing she could do because he was really dead. Louis then comes in. Blair desperately tries to apologize, but he stays silent for the whole time until the aide comes in and tells Sophie he's requesting a word. He leaves without saying anything. Elsewhere, Dan, Serena, and Nate confront Georgina. All four realize it was most likely not Chuck who sent the video in. Georgina offers reasons for the remaining three. Ask why they would send it, who sent it in, and also mentions Dan's major customer, Blair. And she leaves, and an aide comes to collect Dan and Serena. They are set to wedding, and Blair apologizes, and Blair and Louis finish getting married. At the reception, Blair and Louis cut their cake and appear happy. At the bar, Dan and Nate talk, and Dan asks if he's sure Chuck sent the video in. Serena comes and asks what they're talking about. Nate says that Chuck was a grand gesture. Maybe he did some of those too. He wouldn't be at the wedding alone, and walks off. When he spots Lola, or the real Charlie Rhodes, but I'm just gonna call her Lola. Dan and Serena talk, and Serena apologizes for lying and making him carry out their fake relationship. Dan asks why, and Serena misses her undying love for Dan. He doesn't know what to say, and she leaves by saying that she hopes they can talk later. Meanwhile, Nate goes to visit Lola Rhodes. I'm just gonna call her Lola Rhodes, and recites recites facts about her, including she's from Florida and works as a cater waiter because her mom doesn't support her going to Juilliard. Yeah, that kind of does sound like Carol not supporting her daughter, because the fact that she hired a fake daughter kind of sounds like Carol to me. Yeah, she says she's impressed, and now that she's a little interested in finding out if Nate's a cliche or not. On the dance floor, Blair and Louis are sharing their last dance before departing on their honeymoon. Blair is over the moon, happy to finally be a princess and married to Louis, and tells him so. Lee informs them, despite Sophie telling him to wait until later, he can't anymore. He explains that with everyone watching that day, he has no choice but accept Blair's apology and stand by her side. He can't say that was it, and after their wedding, they have nothing between them but a contract, and says, yeah, their marriage is just for the public. They basically mean nothing to each other. Yep, Louis shows his true colors and reveals that, yeah, he's basically just a major villain now. Even though this is his next episode's his last, I think next episode's his last appearance before they basically reduce him to being a mentioned character. So yeah, why not make his second to last appearance him showing his true colors and revealing that, yeah, he's basically just a super villain that has mommy issues. He basically just wants to do whatever his mom says. And now he's revealing that, yeah, he was in love with Blair, but yeah, her revealing she was in love with Chuck basically changed his feelings, and now he basically, yeah, their marriage is all for show. It's just for the public. But when they're behind closed doors, they have nothing. They're not going to be married, and they mean nothing to each other, and that all they have is a contract. And he tells Blair she better be ready to put on the best show everyone has ever seen and keep it up until Louis decides it's over. Louis also says that she'll do anything a princess is supposed to do. A confused Blair asks what about the vow he's reciting everyone, and Louis reveals that he never wrote them. Dan did. Blair asks why would he want to be married to someone he doesn't love, and Louis recites Sophie's speech from that morning that All marriages are business arrangements. I guess Louis, after the video, Louis realized that, yeah, Sophie's right. Business marriages are all just business arrangements, even though they're not. But he does. He thinks so. Meanwhile, Chuck drinks alone at the Empire. At the St. Regis sedan, and Blair walks away from Louis while he's smiling. He picks up a first phone call. She sees a mysterious phone call. Jesse made a horrible mistake and asks for them to help her. At that moment, Chuck calls Arthur and says that they need to make St. Regis fast. Blair runs outside, and inside Serena, Lily, and Rufus, as they see Dan. They both say they haven't and suggest Dan check the other room. Before she can, she sees Chuck and demands to know why he showed up. He explains that he had to apologize to Blair and asks where she is. Outside, Blair runs toward the car and gets inside, and it's revealed that, yeah, Dan's in that same car, who just stole the Just Married car to save her. They drive off, finally with Blair's bouquet next to them, and the hands writing the Gossip Girl post are showing to belong to, yeah, Georgina. Yeah, Georgina is Gossip Girl. And mind blown, waiting for this all season, waiting for someone to be Gossip Girl. Why not it be Georgina? Okay, so that was episode 13, the Wondrous episode. So Louis was revealed to be, yeah, he basically didn't love Blair at all. Or maybe he did until someone sent in that videotape to Gossip Girl, and then that's the moment he basically decided, yeah, he can't stand her anymore, and all the relationships will be fake. So yeah, Georgina's Gossip Girl, and I wonder what they're gonna do with this revelation. Nate's kind of in love with Serena's cousin Lola. What? I guess because he doesn't know that's Serena's cousin, but because we know, it's really weird that Nate is kind of in love with Serena's cousin. So yeah, next up we got the backup Dan, Louis' final appearance of the series. And hopefully it does good because, yeah, basically they just made a major bombshell. But you know you love me. XOXO, Gossip Girl. This was the 100th episode! And it was good. It was really good. Basically confusing with a bunch of people saying it's not the wedding. Nate meeting Serena's cousin without realizing it's Serena's cousin. And Serena's cousin, Lola, doesn't even know she's Serena's cousin. So, and also, yeah, of course, her mom not knowing she's at Juilliard basically sounds like Carol. It basically sounds like Carol Rhodes. But anyway, that's it for this video. And I know you love me. XOXO, Gossip Girl, or Georgina, Gossip Girl, because Georgina is Gossip Girl.